Hello, and welcome to Verbling. For the next hour, we will be looking and learning looking at and learning, vocabulary related to personality, traits, characteristics of human beings. So lots of adjectives today. Actually, today, at this particular time slot, and continuing into tomorrow at this time slot, personality related vocabulary. Okay, we will be learning this vocabulary through a mix of some exercises, a little fill in the blank, maybe mix and match, and also conversation as we go along doing the exercises together as a class, taking turns. Okay, so lots of vocabulary to learn. I have found that the abstract type adjective vocabulary is something that students sometimes lack, so I think it's a valuable lesson. All right, let me start by welcoming students to the class. Hello, Alush. Is that right?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Hi. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Alush?
My name, no, it's surname. My name is Ali.
Ali. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I can handle that. Hi, Ali. Where are you from?
Hi.
Hi.
I am from Syria. From Syria.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome to the class. Nice to meet you. And,
thank you, you too.
All right, we'll talk to you a little bit later. Also, Javier is with us. Hello, Javier. How are you today?
Hi, how are you? Good, you?
I'm good, thanks. And Carolina is with us. Hi, Carolina.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you today?
I am fine too. Thank you for asking.
Okay, great. Hello, welcome to the class. Hello, hello.
Hello, teacher.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you again. Jair is with us as well. Hello, Jair.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. Welcome to the class. Okay, everyone, we're going to get started. If you're a latecomer, if you'd like to join us, there's still plenty of room in the class. Come on in. In the meantime, I'm going to get started. I'm going to do a screen share here. And we're going to start off reading some short, simple sentences that have to do with people's personality. I would like you students to take turns reading the sentence and then telling me if this is a positive statement or a negative statement. Okay, Ali, sorry. Ali,
Yeah.
Number one, please. Go ahead and read it, and then we'll talk about it.
She's got so much personality.
Okay, is that a nice thing to say or a mean thing to say? Is that positive or negative?
It's a negative.
Well, it's okay. This is a tricky one, actually, because actually, Ali, this is usually a positive expression. It means that the person's probably energetic, outgoing, extroverted, someone who's very social. One very basic element of personality that we use in English to describe someone's personality is an extrovert versus an introvert. Extrovert is someone outgoing and social, and introvert is more introspective, more quiet, more stay-at-home kind of person. Somebody who's got a lot of personality is probably very social.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. However, you're not entirely wrong, Ali, because sometimes English speakers might say this in a sarcastic way to mean that someone is overbearing. They have too much personality. They're too bossy, too energetic. They're almost stressful because they're so outgoing and extroverted. So actually, the first one here is a little bit tricky. You can't win with that one, Ollie. Either way. Well, you're wrong both ways, or you're right both ways. So, okay. Anyway, that's the idea. So sometimes with some of these talking about personality, it's all about your intonation, how you say it. She's got so much personality. Okay, that's positive. If you listen to my intonation, she's got so much personality, sarcastically dragging the so much personality. That might be negative. Okay, sometimes it's not the words so much as how you say it. All right. Yeah. Okay, Javier, number 2.
She's a bit difficult at times. I think it's negative.
Yeah, it is, and it's actually a very polite way because we use a bit difficult. All right. The speaker here is trying to be nice. Okay. All right. What does that mean, Javier? Somebody's a bit difficult at times. Maybe.
A little difficult, but like you said, it's just like polite way to say that it's very annoying, maybe, or difficult.
Annoying. Okay. That's it. When we say someone's difficult, they're maybe annoying or demanding. They demand your time and your energy, and like that, maybe. Yeah. Okay, I want to quickly welcome Julio to the class. He's just joined us. Hello, Julio.
Hello, Professor. How are you?
I'm just fine. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. I'll come around and talk to you a little bit later. In the meantime, Carolina, number 3.
She isn't easy to get on with. It's negative.
Definitely negative. Okay. What does this probably mean? She isn't easy to get on with.
Maybe she's difficult to understand. Maybe she's conflicted,
Oh,
complicated.
okay. Well, it's not so much that she's not easy to understand. She's not easy to get on with. By the way, if you get on with somebody, this is very British. You get on with somebody. Americans say get along with rather than get on with. It means that you're friendly with that person, and you're on good terms. You're friends, or at least you have a friendly relationship, if not actual friends. And you mostly agree. You don't have a lot of disagreements, and if someone isn't easy to get on with, it's very difficult to be friends with them. And it could be for a lot of reasons, actually. It could be because they're very quiet and don't talk to other people. It could be because they complain a lot. It could be because they're very aggressive. We don't really know why, but the idea is it's difficult to be friends with them for whatever reasons, okay? Carolina, I just noticed your other note there about being bipolar. Well, okay, that's something else entirely, really. Okay, that's a clinical idea for somebody who's extremely emotional. We might say more conversationally, informally. Somebody's really emotional, okay? They get really angry, they get really, really sad, Or if you're bipolar, you get really, really happy sometimes, and then you're really, really depressed other times. You tend to have extremes of emotions, which probably would make them difficult at times, and it would probably be difficult to get on with them as well. So, but that's the meaning there. Okay, we've had a couple others join us, so I want to quickly welcome Alejandro. Hi, Alejandro.
Hi.
How are you? Hey, how are you today?
I'm fine. Fine.
Great. And Keiko has joined us. Hey, Keiko.
Hey,
Welcome.
teacher.
Hi. Good to
Thank
see
you. Good to see you too. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, we're kind of analyzing these statements if they're positive or negative. So first we're reading them. Italo, can you read number 4?
Number 4. She's got a great sense of humor. It's a good commentary.
Hang on, Alejandro, would you mind muting your microphone? There's a lot of background noise. If you wouldn't mind. Thank you very much. Italo, I'm sorry? I heard you read it.
She's got a great sense of humor. When the woman has a good personality.
Well, yes, it's considered
it's
positive.
Very happy.
It is considered a positive. Most people, many language learners thinks this means that a person can tell a great joke, or they're like a comedian. That's not really what that means. If somebody has a great sense of humor, it's more important they can appreciate humor. They understand that something's funny and they laugh about it. Someone who has no sense of humor, something funny happens and they don't even crack a smile. Okay, they don't really understand humor. Okay, so the idea if somebody has a good sense of humor is not so much that they can be funny, but that they can actually appreciate funny things and understand them. Okay, there's a phrase as well. You crack a smile. We often use this negative. Somebody doesn't crack a smile. They probably don't have a sense of humor. One other small related note here. This spelling, the actual spelling, letters. British use the U. American spelling is H-U-M-O-R, no U. Slight difference there, British and American English. Okay, moving on. JR, number 5.
Hi. She's a bit of pain sometimes.
Yeah, a bit of a pain.
Yes, a bit of a pain sometimes. I think it is negative.
Yeah, definitely. Related expression, pain in the neck. If someone's a pain in the neck is very common. Or a pain in another part of your anatomy where you sit down. Okay, but I'm not going to say it, but you can figure it out. Okay, what does that probably mean, JR? Someone's a pain in the neck, or sometimes we just say, she's such a pain. And by the way, not only a person can be a pain, but also a situation. Oh, I have to stand in line for 2 hours at the bank. What a pain. What a pain in my neck. So this expression can be used not just for people, but also situations. JR, what does that mean? Someone's a pain, or something's a pain. JR? Are you there? Did I lose you? Okay. Okay. If something's a pain, like standing in the line at the bank for 2 hours, it generally means something is very inconvenient for you. It's consuming time, and it's causing extra effort to do. It's a pain. Somebody who's a pain in the neck, pretty much the same idea. They do things, or the way they act causes you to spend extra energy to deal with them. Okay, if you have a boss that demands that you do every last piece of paperwork before you leave the office, so it makes you late to your child's birthday party, okay, that your boss is a pain in the neck. Somebody who causes you extra time and effort, or just extra emotional energy even, is a pain in the neck. Quick shout out and welcome to Julio, another Julio. Hello,
Hey, Dish,
Julio.
how's it going?
Great. How you doing?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Cool. Okay, we'll talk to you in a little bit. Now I want to talk to the first Julio who came into class.
Hello.
Yeah, you're the one. Great. You're Julio number 1 now. Okay.
Okay.
Number 6.
She's great fun.
She's great fun. Is that positive or negative?
Positive.
Definitely. What does that mean if somebody's great fun?
Maybe she's funny or humoristic.
Okay. Now, all right. Humorous. Humorous. No IC. There's no IC adjective. Or maybe there is, but I'm not absolutely sure. But normally we say humorous. She's very humorous to describe a person. I know you're using the IC suffix for adjectives, and you got the right idea, but here we usually just say humorous. Yeah, okay, she might be humorous. She's entertaining. She likes to have fun, amusing, maybe humorous, maybe just exciting. Always something's going on around her, so an expression we may use in English, we might say never. All right, never a dull moment with Paula. She's great fun. So exciting to be around. Okay, actually the next one I kind of already went into. Very, very similar to she's a pain. She can be a pain in the neck. These 5 and 7 here, basically identical, interchangeable.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yeah, sure. What's that?
Somebody told me that she went to the States, and she's from my country, so she went to the States, and she once said, like, today I want to get some fun. So the other girls that were around her told her, like, no, you won't say that. You say, I want to have some fun, because if you say that you want to get some fun, it means like you want something else.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Julio. I'll back that one up. Yeah, you want to have some fun, go out, go dancing or something like that, that's great. You want to get some fun, that could mean you want drugs, or it could mean you want sex, but it's definitely something naughty. Yeah. I'll confirm that, Julio. She's right. I believe that story 100%. Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Very useful, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good point. Good point for others who may travel to the United States. That's right. You want to have some fun, not get some fun, because you're implying something else. Thanks for helping me bring up that point. Okay, Alejandro, I know you're having connection problems. Testing. Are you there? Alejandro? You want to try your connection? Say hello?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I can hear you okay. Number 8. Can you read number 8?
She's my kind.
Mhm.
Yes. She's my kind of person.
Okay, is that positive or negative?
Positive.
Absolutely. My kind of person. What does that mean? And
My type.
my type. Okay. Maybe you share interests or opinions.
Affinity with my
Yeah.
personality.
Okay, very good. Nice word. All right. You have an affinity for this person. Excellent. All right. One, you like them again because they're your type. They're your kind of people. They are maybe interests or views, opinions. Very good. Yeah, that's the idea. Okay. Great. And also, one last thing. Notice the way I say it, my intonation. There's almost a specific kind of intonation. She's my kind of person. We always really exaggerate it when we say this phrase. I don't know why. You're my kind of people, Alejandro. Okay. And notice I also said my kind of people, not my kind of person. Maybe that's American, I'm not sure. But as an American, I can assure you that most Americans would say my kind of people. You're my kind of people. Okay. Now, I'm sure we can all think of people who fit these descriptions, so we'll move on. Okay. He's always doing that. We use personality to talk about people. Tony isn't very sensitive because people do things that make us assume these personality types. So here's what we're going to do. In this next section, we're going to read the, again, short, simple sentence about someone's personality, and then we will attempt to match it with an activity that would describe such a person. Okay, let's try it out with number 1, Keiko. First, read number 1.
Tony isn't very sensitive.
Okay. By the way, Keiko, before we look at Tony's activities, we can say isn't sensitive. We can also use the negative or opposite, the antonym of sensitive. Do you know what that is? He is. No?
Okay. With a prefix?
Yeah, with a prefix. Yeah, exactly. Insensitive. So he isn't sensitive. He is insensitive. There's a lot of these adjectives that describe personality. You can add a prefix to. That's a set group of letters, 2 or 3 letters, to create the opposite meaning. So this is very common with these types of adjectives. Okay, anyway. Okay, Tony isn't very sensitive. All right, let's see if we can. Keiko, can you find a sentence which would describe somebody who isn't very sensitive? What do you think? This is a kind of a tough one here.
He keeps getting into fights.
Yeah, you might think that at first, and so did I, to be perfectly honest, but that's not quite it.
Letter D. Letter D.
There you go.
He's always saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, okay. He's all right. This is a very kind of typical sentence, really, to describe somebody. It also kind of describes personality. He's always saying the wrong thing. He doesn't think about how it may hurt other people's feelings before he says it. Okay, that's the idea. So he says things like, you know, he criticizes people maybe for their dress or their hair. That's an unusual looking hairstyle. Okay, he just comes out and says that, and then maybe he hurts somebody's feelings. He's not really sensitive to the fact that, for example, the person may be very concerned about their new hairstyle. That's basically insensitive. You don't think about other people's feelings. Ilsa from outside the class, I think. There's no Ilsa here. Ilsa from outside the class is asking about another typical phrase. She's one of a kind. Is it positive? Ilsa, that one can be positive or negative. Actually, kind of depends how you say it and what context. It's often positive. One thing in English that's sometimes misunderstood by language learners, if we say someone's one of a kind, or he's unique, or he's a real character, if we call somebody a real character, it means they're different from everybody else. These are often positive aspects, and sometimes cultures being different, you know, United States being a culture of individualists, being different from everyone else is not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, very often. It's a compliment to say if someone's a real character. It means they're unique and different and interesting, not boring and dull and sheep-like. Okay, so it's she's one of a kind, often positive. However, in a certain context, it could be negative. If you're talking about one of a kind of evil people, for example. Okay, anyway, let's continue here. Julio, second Julio.
Mark's so aggressive.
All right, well. All right, what does that match?
He keeps getting into fights.
Yeah, okay, that's true. But Julio, because you're aggressive, does that mean that you always get into fights necessarily?
Well, no, you can be passive aggressive.
There's another can of worms to look at. Yeah, okay. All right, well, what does that mean if you're passive aggressive?
Well, that you are, in a clever way, being insulting somebody without actually saying anything. It's kind of an art, actually.
Actually, you're right. Kind of funny. Yeah, okay, you're angry at somebody, but you don't want to be directly angry at them. So you may, through your words, as you say, you may be aggressive in a subtle way, or through your actions is probably even more more common. You know, you're mad at your wife, so instead of just arguing with your wife straightforwardly, being aggressive, you go out and drink all night with your buddies. That's kind of passive-aggressive behavior. You're trying to get back at her. You're trying to make her mad or upset, but you're doing it in a kind of backhanded way, like that. So not being straightforwardly aggressive, but trying to hurt someone in a sort of backhanded way is the idea. Something like that. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, just because someone's aggressive, now, look, in the business world, for example, saying, oh, Alvin is very aggressive, he's our best salesman, this can be a positive. This can be absolutely a positive. he keeps after the client until he gets that contract signed. He's very aggressive as a salesman. Aggressive does not have to be always negative. Most people instantly think aggressive, negative. Yes, it could mean violent and physically aggressive, but it can also mean somebody who's very ambitious, reaching their goals, somebody who's very dedicated, and you know, if you're a football player and you're aggressive, is that a bad thing? Not really. I think most of the top football players are aggressive in their play, so not necessarily is it a bad thing.
There is an adjective I just remember. I think it's pretty cool. And it's he has sharp elbows.
I haven't heard that one in a million years. Okay. Okay. He has sharp elbows. That's a very specific one, really.
Yeah.
That has to do with being aggressive, but also being abrasive to people. Yeah, that one's definitely kind of negative. Definitely. That's saying he doesn't mind hurting people.
In order to reach his goals.
Yeah, exactly, because of his ambition. Yeah, precisely. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Speaking of football players, well, I guess that's kind of related there, or could be. Okay. All right, finally, all the way back around to Ali. Ali, number 3.
Simon's very thoughtful.
Okay. All right. What does Simon do that makes him thoughtful?
He's always worrying about what people think of him.
No. I can understand why you might think that. Okay, someone who's introspective might think this like this, but interestingly, strangely, thoughtful doesn't really mean thinking. It's actually a word about emotions in English. It really doesn't have to do with the fact that you're thinking brilliant thoughts or you're thinking about what other people are thinking about you. It's not really the meaning. Thoughtful is basically the opposite of insensitive. When we say thoughtful, we mean that somebody does think about other people's emotions and feelings. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So probably the best answer here is probably A. He's always buying me little presents. Okay. He's very thoughtful. All right. Oh, he knows that you didn't have a pen yesterday, so today he comes to work and he brings you some brand new pens. That kind of person. The kind of person who goes out of their way to do things for you that they know you need without being asked. All right, because he's worried about you. He wants you to be happy. He's worried about your emotional state. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably A there. Okay, number 4, Javier.
He's so absent-minded.
Uh-huh. Okay. What do you think?
He keeps forgetting where he put the things.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. Absolutely. Javier, are you absent-minded at all?
Sometimes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Javier, I don't wear a watch. I don't even wear my wedding ring usually, and I don't use a wallet. You know why? Because I lose them. I put them places and then I don't know where I put them. I've never had a watch for more than 3 days without losing it. I can't own a nice smartphone because it's just stupid, because I will just lose it. So I buy the cheapest possible cell phone. I don't trust myself, Javier. I'm way too absent-minded. Yeah. I can't help myself. Absent-minded professor, you know. Classic collocation, by the way. If I say someone's an absent-minded professor, I mean that they're maybe an actual professor, but maybe that they're kind of an intellectual, really smart person, but they kind of maybe lack common sense, and they're always losing things and forgetting where they put their keys or their glasses or things like that. Okay, Carolina, number 5.
Joe isn't very self-confident. He is always worrying about what people think of him.
There it is. Okay, exactly right. Okay. People who lack self-confidence are too concerned about what other people think of them. Okay, Carolina, are you self-confident?
I don't think so.
Oh dear.
Maybe when I was younger, maybe when I was 15 years, I always thinking about what my friends said to me.
Didn't we all? Okay, there you go. Actually, I was going to try to say exactly the same thing. Most people,
but now I don't care.
Right. There you go. Most people, when they go through their adolescence, the time of life when they go through puberty and they're, young teenagers, 13, 14, 15, whatever, they're very, very self-conscious. Okay, here's another useful word. If you're self-conscious, you actually think people are looking at you all the time, and you're worried about, what are you looking at? Is something wrong with my hair? Are my pants on wrong? Is my shirt on inside out? What's going on? Yeah, there you go, Carolina. That's about it. Most of us, when we're young, are very self-conscious, and we lack self-confidence. Lack self-confidence, by the way, there's a strong collocation. So some of these positive aspects, we often use the verb to lack. He lacks self-confidence. He lacks a sense of humor. So we often use lack to talk about when people don't have these kinds of personality traits. Okay, next one, Italo. Last one here, number 6.
Number 6. He is so vain.
Yeah.
The corresponds with that is the C. He's always worrying about that people think of him.
Well, that's partly true, or that could be true, or that could not be true at all. Actually, the best response is probably B. He's always looking in the mirror. If you're vain, you think you're beautiful. You think you're smart. You think you're athletic. You think you're the most wonderful thing that ever fell down onto the earth. Okay. There's a lot of similar words. We're formerly narcissistic, for example. You're very, very narcissistic, or a narcissist is somebody who, especially their appearance, they think they're the most beautiful person on the earth. An egotist usually has more to do with it. They think they're the most talented, the smartest, like that. Okay, really someone who's vain probably doesn't worry about what people think of him because he's probably sure that they think he's great, regardless of whether he is or not. The fact that he's vain probably means he's not really that great to begin with. Okay. Anyway, all right, let's continue. Looking at another way of expressing somebody's, talking about somebody's personality, expressing your ideas about someone's personality. Far too whatever, or much too whatever. This is a common way to express that somebody has too much of some personality trait. Whether that's maybe it's possible to have too much of a positive personality trait, or obviously it's possible to have too much of a negative personality trait. Here are some examples. Far too sensible, much too shy, much too proud, far too honest. Okay, it's good to be honest, but if there's such a thing as far too honest, all of these would be considered a critique, a negative way to say it, even though many of these are honest, sensible, modest, loyal. These are very positive ideas, but notice the construction, far too or much too. Okay, we've got some dialogue style fill in the blank. Which phrase would best fit in the blank that we're going to look at here? There is gone. Okay, Julio. First Julio. Julio,
Okay.
number one.
I think Mark took some money from my bag while we're out. No, he's much too loyal to do a thing like that.
In a certain circumstance, perhaps that might fit. If the speaker took money from my bag, maybe if the speaker was the boss or something, or some kind of leader for Mark, but that would have to be in a certain context. More generally broad, there's another phrase that would fit basically any situation.
Honest?
Yeah, there you go. Only a thief steals money. So you have to be dishonest. At least in English, a thief or somebody who steals is automatically dishonest. A dishonest person. Okay, so honest and dishonest doesn't just have to do with telling the truth. It also has to do with not being a criminal, not stealing. Okay. Now, here, notice the negative. He's far too honest to do a thing like that. We're justifying that he's too good of a person. But this phrase, far too honest, can be also used as a critique. All right, so here it's a positive. You're saying he's too honest to steal money. All right. It's also possibly, this phrase can be used as a critique. For example, if you asked Mark, how does my hair look? And Mark says, well, I think it looks out of style, and I don't think you should have cut it so short. Okay. Mark does not know how to tell a little white lie. All right? Mark won't say nice things to people to make them feel better. He will tell absolutely the truth. He doesn't know how to tell a little white lie to prevent people from getting their feelings hurt. So I might say Mark is far too honest. Okay, so it can also be an actual critique. Or it could be used as justification, like this example, why he didn't do something.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Alejandro, number 2.
Okay. I'm still waiting for Lisa to say sorry for sending that fax to the wrong address. You will wait a long time, Lisa.
Lisa's blank.
Lisa's blank. To admit anything hurtful.
Okay, what is Lisa?
To prove
What? Proud?
proud, yes.
Yeah, much too proud.
Much too
Okay, well, this is obviously a critique. Somebody's much too proud to admit they're wrong. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that one's pride is something it's okay to be proud of your achievements, but one of those things where it's okay to a certain degree, but you have too much pride that's very, very negative, right? The whole concept of pride is very interesting. I've traveled a lot, and the idea of pride in different countries is very different, I've noticed. In some countries, some cultures, you're not really allowed to be proud of anything. In some cultures, like Americans, it's perfectly okay to be proud of your achievements, things that you've managed to do, promotions and awards. It's okay to be proud of those things. You should not be overly proud, however. Overly proud. There's another way to say much too proud. Okay, anyway, moving on. Keiko, number 3.
Jenny left the window open when she went out this morning. Anybody could have got in. Are you sure it was Jenny? She's blank to do anything like that. She's far too sensible.
There you go. Okay. This one is very hard to make negative. Okay. So this one's tough to make it negative. Call somebody too sensible. It's hard to call sensible. How can you be too sensible? So this is used here as as a justification why she would not do it in the negative. I don't know. Keiko, is it possible to say somebody's far too sensible in a negative way? I guess it is, actually. How could that be negative?
She's insensible.
No. Is it possible to say someone's far too sensible and make it really actually negative? It might be.
Careless.
No, okay, you're talking about the opposite of sensible might be careless. Right. You'd have to use a different word. I mean using exactly this phrase. I might critique someone who only works, goes to work, wears sensible shoes, never deviates from the plan, lives in a house, never goes on vacation, never goes to a wild party, never does anything exciting or extreme, never ever takes a chance. I might critique them by saying, you're far too sensible. It's time you let down your hair. Okay? Somebody who may be too sensible, I might advise them to let down their hair. Meaning, be a little wild, take a chance, take a risk. You may critique somebody for being far too sensible because they never take a chance, for example. Kind of boring. Okay, that's the idea I was trying to get at. Ali, number 4.
Apparently, Amy asked Tom if he would like to go out tomorrow night. I don't believe you, and don't believe you. She's to ask a boy out.
Okay.
She's too shy.
Yeah, probably.
Much too shy.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask somebody out on a date. Yeah, shy people don't ask somebody out on a date. Okay, Ali, a couple other things. Pronunciation of asked. All right. It's actually supposed to be one syllable. English speakers often reduce this pronunciation, and that's okay. So we kind of drop the K sound, because it's really hard to say the K sound and then the T sound for the ED. So you frequently will hear native speakers say asked, like that.
Okay.
Very common. Asked. With a T sound at the end. Asked. Okay? And one other thing, Ali, don't be shy about speaking the contractions. He'd. Instead, you said he would. Well, yes, that's what it means. It's he would. You're right. But in spoken English, even formally spoken English, it's perfectly okay to speak the contracted pronunciation, contracted form pronunciation. He'd, I'm, we're going to the mall, I'm tired, he'd like to go, things like that. Perfectly okay to do that, acceptable. Okay. Even in formal speech. President of the United States gives a speech. Believe it or not, listen carefully. You'll hear him use contracted forms. Okay? Okay. But yeah, okay, shy is a pretty easy one. Shy, not social. You don't like to be social. You're probably introverted. All right, Javier, number 5.
Julie got the highest mark in the class, but she didn't say a word. No, she will not. She's to say anything about it.
Okay.
She's far too modest.
There you go. Modest is frequently considered as the opposite of proud. If you're modest, you never say anything about your accomplishments. Okay. And Javier, you too, just like I was telling Ali, you know, you wouldn't. She wouldn't. Go ahead and say those contractions. Feel free. Wouldn't. Yeah.
Wouldn't.
There you go. Okay. All right. Somebody who's modest. Modest is definitely by itself a positive characteristic. But you could be critiqued for it. You're too modest. You need to take credit. You're never going to get a promotion. You're way too modest. All right? You never talk about your capabilities, your abilities, what you've done. You're too modest. You're never going to get promoted. You've got to... Javier, can you think of... do you know what this means? You should blow your own horn. What does that mean? Blow your own horn.
What?
Blow your own horn.
Oh, no, I have an idea, but I'm not sure.
Okay. If you blow your own horn, you talk about your accomplishments or your abilities.
Like show off?
What's that?
Like showing off?
Kind of like showing off, but yeah, like showing off, kind of. But be careful there, because you show off, it usually means you're doing something. You do a trick on your skateboard, or you do some physical activity. We usually use show off. If you're speaking about what you can do, you're blowing your own horn, or you're really, you're bragging. Okay, I can do a 350, 360 backflip on my skateboard. I'm bragging. If I actually show you my 360 backflip, I'm showing off. If I say to you, I won the championship at the skateboard, the city skateboard championships. Now I'm blowing my own horn. I actually did something. Okay, you see the difference there? There's a little bit of a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, you blow your own horn, you're talking about something that you actually did accomplish. And we frequently introduce something like that by saying, ironically enough, not to blow my own horn, but I recently won. The championships in the state finals. So it's very common to hear somebody introduce what they're going to say by saying not to blow my own horn, even though that's exactly their intention, is to blow their own horn. Kind of silly, funny, I don't know. Whatever. Okay. This hasn't happened in a while. All right. Okay. Let's look at a few other possible personality trait words. Let's fill in the blanks with a little more dialogue here with these different words up above. Carolina, number one.
Lucy never thinks about anyone but herself. Yes, she can be a bit selfish sometimes.
Okay, selfish. All right, definitely. Negative or positive, Carolina?
Negative.
Definitely negative. It's hard to make this one positive. Okay. Yes, she never thinks about anyone but herself. Okay, Carolina, what would be the opposite of selfish? What about somebody who only thinks about other people? Tough one, right?
Careless? No.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Okay, she can be. I don't know how you would say that. We in English we would probably actually say she only thinks about other people. She never thinks about herself. She's unselfish. That one would work. That's the easy one, Carolina. She's very unselfish, I guess. Generous. Giving.
Generous.
Yeah, generous is pretty good. Thanks, Alejandro. It's a good one. Okay. Italo, next one, number two.
Number two. Oh, Laura's impossible. 1 minute life is wonderful, and the next minute she's in her room crying. Yes, she can be a bit moody.
Moody. Okay.
Can she?
Yeah, moody is definitely the right answer. Yeah. Okay. Back way earlier in the class, we talked about bipolar, meaning jumping back and forth between emotions, angry and then sad and then really happy. Okay. The more conversational way to say that is moody. Or we could say emotional. Or technically bipolar, if you're diagnosed with actual chemical imbalance, I think, usually. Julio, number three.
I really don't like Bob. He seems to think that he's more important than anyone else. He certainly can be very arrogant.
Arrogant, there it is. Yes. and I couldn't really define it any better. Somebody who thinks they're more important than everyone else is arrogant. Okay, we're kind of running out of time here, but let's at least look at these last couple. Alejandro, number 4. Alejandro?
Okay. Martin's such good fun. He's got a great sense of humor. Yes, he can be very blank at the times.
Okay. Somebody who has a great sense of humor, makes you laugh.
Silly.
Okay. It could be silly, or he could be amusing. Could be silly. Could also be amusing. Okay. Keiko, number 5.
I wish Joe would stop playing practical jokes all the time. It gets very tiring. Yes, he can be really blank at times. I wish he'd grow up and behave like an adult.
Okay.
Silly.
Okay, here it has to be silly. Now, there's a slight difference, the British and American conception of silly. Americans think it's okay to be silly, act a little bit like a child once in a while, to be silly and funny. But, you know, British people are a little bit more stodgy and formal than Americans. So for them, sometimes silly can be a negative. You know, even Americans say, don't be silly. That's a crazy idea, in kind of a negative way. But for Americans, silly is not a bad thing. And really for British, it's not a bad thing. They just don't want to admit it. Look at Monty Python. I've never seen such a silly bunch of kniggets. Okay, the last one, I told Emma she shouldn't leave university, but she never listens to me. No, she can really be very, when she wants to be, very stubborn when she wants to be, somebody who will not change their mind. Okay, we are well over time with the class, and I'm late for my next class, so thank you, everyone.